Welcome to Corner Store Millionaires, real conversations with the people behind the businesses you see every day. With your host, John Misarti. Each episode features conversations with small business owners, sharing how they started, what it took to build their business, and what their life is like from behind the counter.
All right. Welcome to Corner Store Millionaires podcast. My name is John Misarti, and today I am joined by Jordan Fleming, who is the co-founder and chairman of smartphone.io. Welcome, Jordan. It's great to see you again.
Absolutely. Great to see you again. And thanks so much for having me on.
Awesome. Before we dive in, can you give the audience just a little bit context about what is smartphone.io?
Sure. So smartphone is well, we now call it an agentic conversation platform, and I'll explain what that means.
Mm,
Because we're transitioning a little right now. In the age of AI, almost every business is transitioning, and but the core of what smartphone is around powering the conversations that grow your business. Particularly if you're in a sales-based business, real estate business, or anything like that, conversations are how you make money, right? There's
absolutely.
no better way of connecting with sellers and with buyers than picking up the phone and calling them. And smartphone has come for the last almost decade. Smartphone has really powered the conversations for thousands and thousands of businesses across the country that are in sales and that are, need to make sure that a couple things happen. One, their conversations happen when they need to happen. Two, that those conversations are fully synced to their CRM so they get that full 360 view of the customer
Yep.
journey and what communications they've had them. And finally, now in the age of AI, they want to make sure that they're able to seamlessly transition between AI speaking with people and their team speaking with people. And those are really the core of what smartphone does today.
I love it. Yeah, and just so the audience knows too, I've been using smartphone for, years and years now. It's absolutely my favorite dialer. Um, and I think it's important too, just to fill it in, if you don't mind me. You guys are a click to dial, you are a single line dialer, and you also do like a multi-line or batch dialing service. So with those three tools, you can really use smartphone however fits best into that individual's business.
Absolutely, and on top of that, as you say, the texting's a huge part of conversations with sellers and with buyers and
Yep.
with businesses nowadays, and you can do that through the smartphone. And we even get a lot of people who are in the real estate or property management games using video calling inside a smartphone to make sure that if they've got someone, walking through a property, they've got a landlord or a seller at the property. They can switch to video, have that call recorded and directly in their CRM as well. So all those different types of communications.
It's the video recording is super smart, and I'll be honest with you, I have not used that in my own business yet, but maybe it's time to get started.
It's only
Um,
going to get better as well,
I'm
actually.
sure it is.
Video calling has been not been one of our biggest pushes. We've had other things we've been working on, but um, we're upgrading a lot of stuff right now, and making sure that your video calls also go into the shared memory of your smartphone system so that you kind of have that full view of every conversation is one of the next steps we're going to be doing.
Okay, I love it. I love it. So I'm just curious. Where did the initial idea come from, and what was the startup process like?
So the initial idea came. So this is we're just coming up to 10 years, I believe, or 9. I can't remember. But essentially, what ended up happening was I had my own company at the time that was one of the kind of top Podio partners out there, and we were building systems for people inside of a platform called Podio.
Yep.
And I met my business partners who also had a Podio partner company that were building systems inside of Podio for people. And I met them on a webinar, and they had a very technical team. I had a particular instinct for sales and marketing, and they sort of said, "Look, we should do something someday." And I'd had this idea of a phone system for Podio because at the time there was really nothing out there that worked.
That's right.
You had to
That's
jury
right.
rig things together,
That's right.
email call logs in, and it wasn't really built, and it wasn't seamless. And so I sort of had this idea, and one of my business partners, Vlad, said, "Yeah, we can build that. I can build that for you." And that, it sort of took off, and then it just took off.
Mm,
And it took off because of a perfect storm of a couple verticals, particularly real estate investors, were using Podio at the time. They're
yep.
heavy users of phone systems and really needed to make sure that their conversations were tracked. And we were the first and only really game in town. And we established dominance in Podio very early and never really let it go.
That's great. That's great. I remember, so I was that guy. I started with Podio, and I believe you guys, maybe we were listed on there as a
Extension.
an extension, or yeah, something along those lines. And you were probably like the third or fourth system that I was trying to integrate, you know, without success. But then you guys came along and it just worked. It worked really well. And then since then, I think myself and probably most of the real estate investors out there, they've moved off of Podio. They're moving to different CRMs, but you guys have remained a constant. The system just works. And what I think is great about it too, the UI or the UX of smartphone, it's so clean, it's so intuitive, and then the logging again works really well. So there's no confusion. A call picks up, you get it, you can listen back to it, you can transcribe it if you want to, and the notes are there for everyone that might need to hop on and review something at a later point. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's an interesting, people don't understand until they understand just how powerful it is to connect your CRM with your communication tools. And, otherwise, if you don't do that, if you're reliant on people logging things manually, you're in a fool's game.
That's
You're,
right.
you're running a fool's errand, and it's never going to work.
That's right.
But when you have a seamless capability to make sure that every single one of those communications is tracked, logged, put exactly where it needs to be, and immediately, it really turns your CRM from being a static system to being a dynamic way of interacting with your customers and your sales pipeline in a way that once you've tried it, you can't really go back.
That's it. That's it. And I think AI probably has helped that process quite a bit. It's helped, it's growing, it's sort of, I don't want to say doing its own thing, but it has made the process a little bit easier. Um, I know you guys have again started with this AI. I don't know how long it's been, but if you want to talk a little bit about that, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, AI is a really interesting one in general because everybody no you can't go anywhere without hearing people talk about AI.
Hmm.
But I also seamlessly, I sort of hear everybody talking about how amazing it is, but then I also hear about people spending a lot of time, spending a lot of money, and not really leveraging that much benefit
Hmm.
a lot of the times. And that's because like the AI is still now AI is incredibly powerful with so many amazing tools at this point, but there's a lot of shiny key syndrome going on and a lot of rushing to do what I would class as surface level implementation
Yeah,
without really thinking through the overall structural elements of, well, how am I building in this into my workflow? And also, how do I have to redesign my workflow to take advantage of these? Because if you just bolt AI onto things as though, great, this is an amplifier and I'm gonna bolt it on. If you haven't understood how the work and the things that happen move back and forth between your team, your systems, your AI. If you don't understand how that movement works, then you may be amplifying one side of the equation, but leaving a massive gap on the other where the net benefit is massively reduced. And
Mm,
I think we're seeing that a lot with businesses where they got really excited by the hype of AI,
yeah,
and they're not wrong. The hype is valid. The capabilities are there, but if you don't think about how to deeply integrate that into your business model, and how your business model needs to change, and how your organizational structure needs to change, and how your process and your SOPs need to change, then you end up really having a marginal improvement at best.
sure.
And that's something that something I spend a lot of time thinking about right now, because of course we've had to build, or we've chosen to build, voice agents, right?
And I love
So
those agents.
AI speak
Those
to
things
your
are
customers,
fantastic.
speak to your prospects.
Yeah.
Well, but again, part of the game that we're all having to figure out is, it's great the agents can have a call, but what happens after the call?
Mm,
And that's sort of that's part of the game. That's part of the challenge of working it out. Because if your agent can handle 500 calls, but the next step gets dropped, then you're not necessarily winning that much. And that's a game that's an understanding that people have to kind of come to.
sure.
Now I know you've used our agents. You've talked to our agents. You've used
My
them.
goodness.
I mean, it's an incredible experience when you speak with an AI agent that actually can hold a conversation, right?
It is it is so much better than I thought it would be. I have to tell you. It it blew me away like almost immediately. There's a little bit of fine tuning that has to happen, but the voice is organic, right? You get on the call. My AI's name is Jessica, so we get on a call with Jessica, and she talks to us, and it sounds like a human being. There's just a little bit of background noise, so it seems a little bit more again real. But she holds a conversation. She's absolutely able to talk to you. Uh, she's empathetic in some odd way, but she asks the right questions, and if you interrupt her, she's able to go back and start where pick up where she left off. Um, and then if I were to call back in, or for a lead, a customer, whoever calls back in, she's able to remember the first conversation, the second conversation, ask how you've been, what's going on, that sort of thing, and it is so good. It is so incredibly good that I have had leads they call and they have like 10-minute, 15-minute long conversations with the AI, and they have no idea. They have no idea. And it's just like it's
Yeah,
incredible. Jordan, I mean
that
it is the single coolest thing I have seen. And I've tried different AI agents. I mean they
I think
sound
ours are some of the best.
it is because the other ones
And
they
that's
sound
me
like
being
robots.
that's me sounding being a little probably selfish and self
No,
publicizing.
no,
But I think one of the reasons ours were, you just pointed something out really important, which is the ability for an agent to hold a conversation, not just over multiple calls, which is in itself amazing
it is.
and makes the experience better, but to have a 15-minute call, to have a 20-minute call. That takes an ability for nuance, and an agent that is not trying to follow a specific script,
Hmm.
but an agent that is making the decisions on what to say based on what you, as the person on the other end of the line, are saying. And because that's how we work, that's how people work.
Yeah.
You give me a call and I answer it and we're having a conversation. We don't know exactly what each other are going to say next. We
Hmm.
respond back and forth.
Right.
And what makes our agents special in many ways, I think, is their ability to organically maneuver around a conversation and not feel like they are going, well, question one is this, question two is this,
Exactly.
question three
Exactly.
is this. And a lot of the agents out there, they're basically there to get to the call scheduling,
Yep.
um, as quickly as possible, right? Kind of like a call center would do or an
Right.
answering service.
Right.
But to me, if an agent's going to do their job properly, then the agent has to qualify it as best as possible, right? What is the value of scheduling a call with someone who doesn't have a
That's
need to have a call?
that's true.
Right? Then
That's
because
true.
if all your agent is doing is making sure they schedule you on more calls and half of those calls are bullshit, then you're not
Right.
then the agents aren't helping you any.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
just getting more noise.
Yep.
And to me, and you pointed out perfectly well, like when I watch our agents have I had an agent the other day had have a 25-minute call with someone. And the goal of those calls, by the way, is not to fool people into thinking they're speaking to the human. It's
Correct.
not our goal.
Correct.
The goal of the call is to be such a good conversation that it's taking them where they need to get to. The goal isn't to fool them or to be like, man, they don't even know it's AI. That's not the
Right.
goal. The goal is that when they call in, they're calling in for a reason. And if that AI agent is able to get them to where they need to go
Hmm.
and gather the information they need to gather, that's success. That's the true measure of success from an AI agent for me. It's not fooling them into thinking they're
Right.
speaking with a
Right.
human.
Right.
It's
I,
the success of the call.
right. I think too, I don't know if it's just on my agent or if it's across the board, but there isn't a disclaimer up front and it says, hey, we use AI tools or something like that. Uh,
We mandate disclaimers.
sure. Okay.
We
So,
mandate, and we have two. We've actually got an upgrade coming where you can choose between a like a genuine I am an AI agent disclaimer
yeah.
to we use AI to run and manage our calls.
Hmm.
Both are valid. The one true thing that will always stay is that if you ever ask our agents, any one of our agents, if they are AI,
Hmm.
they will never ever lie to you. If you ask Jessica, was it? Is
Jessica.
Jessica
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
If someone asks Jessica, are you AI? Jessica will is incapable of lying about that.
I mean, again, it's great. Being
It's
transparent,
important.
it's very important. And I think, again, ethically, right, we're all on the same page. Um, so I use my agent exclusively for inbound. So if we happen to miss a call or if it's after hours, Jessica takes over. I'm curious to know if there are any outbound specialists that we can put into the batch dialer to do some prospecting.
No.
No.
Batch dialer and prospecting, no.
Okay.
AI is legally not allowed to cold call.
I didn't know that.
So,
Okay.
yeah, if you are cold call, if someone is selling you an AI cold caller right now,
Hmm.
run
Snake
because
oil. All right.
that is a tee up for a TCPA lawsuit and a whopping big fine.
Okay.
Um,
Good to
so
know.
don't do that. That said, we are about to launch our speed to lead and follow-up agents and texting agents as well.
Okay.
But basically agents that can follow up leads, text or call, and work, so a lead comes in. Think about this. If a lead comes in, a new lead comes in, say you've got an ad that points to a web form and they submit, right?
Hmm.
The speed to lead element is let's get them on the phone as quickly as possible. We
Yes.
all know that that's important.
Yep.
So that's the first job that this agent can do. The second job is, well, you have to actually qualify, right? Because there's no point in me getting on the call really quickly and then scheduling a call with you, John, and that person's a time waster. Well, all I've done is I've wasted your time. And that's what's the point.
Right.
So
Right.
so
Right.
then the question is, what are the qualification criteria? Usually it's yes, they have a house to sell if you're talking about real estate.
Yep.
Yes, they have a house to sell. Yes, they're one of the decision makers, or something like that. But the agents, we all know that one call is not always enough to
Correct.
move, right? It just isn't. So
Usually
with
takes
our
a couple.
lead,
Right.
with our speed to lead follow-up agent, You may get a call. They may call back. They may not answer. The agent will text them, "Hey man, when's a good time? I'd love to chat with you." If they text the agent back, the agent can text back and forth, just with the same training you've already given them, just in text instead of speak. But they
Yeah,
can also switch to voice. "Hey, John, are you free for a call right now? I'll call you right now." "Yes, no problem." Or "No, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. I'll call you at 3. 3 p.m. happens, the agent's going to make that call, right? That sort of
that's
lead
exciting.
nurturing is the next agents we're bringing out.
Okay.
Um, and that we've been testing them a lot. And we're a little slower to the market on some of these than other people. And the reason being is we're actually an FCC regulated company.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like smartphone is an FCC regulated telecoms company.
I
And
did not know that.
that means something. And a lot of our competitors who are rushing around talking about their agents, and some of those agents, by the way, like I work with Steve Trang, and his agents are great. I
Okay,
mean, I love Steve, and I love his agents are great. Good, they're great. He's done a great job. But there's a difference between, there is one difference, which is we're an FCC regulated business, and we have to be very, very careful
sure.
because, of course, we've got to make sure that we carry our FCC compliance burden properly.
Hmm.
I will say that the FCC, I've never seen the FCC as active as they are right now.
That's
The
interesting. And you think it's because of the AI, the automated
I
stuff?
I have never seen the FCC bringing in regulations like they are right now to
Hmm.
telecoms. Like they're about to make the FCC has just proposed some they do these notices for proposed rulemaking.
Okay.
And the FCC is doing a couple right now that are transformative for the industry as a general, and it's going to hit every single system out there and every real estate investor out there.
Hmm.
And uh, the challenge for companies that are not telecom companies or that don't play in this game space in a real true way is they're not going to know what's about to hit them when the FCC comes calling. We do because we're in that game. But there's a lot of like we'll both know some CRMs out there that have built using something like Twilio or whatever
Yep.
that have
Yep.
built dialers into their system. Well,
Yep.
the FCC is about to take a massive whack at those, and those guys are going to have a choice to make. And the choice they're going to have to make is, are we going to become telecoms companies? Because we're going to have to be.
Hmm.
And that I think it's going to hit a lot of these smaller CRMs massively.
Stay safe out there, everybody.
The FCC is moving hard. Like I have seen more. I have a couple customers that reach out to me occasionally that I know I've known for years. And one of them over the last 2 years has settled two TCPA lawsuits of just over 100 grand each. So that's 200,000 or so dollars that they've paid out in lawsuits over the
That's
last 2 years.
insanity.
So
That's
it's definitely
insanity.
something people need to keep an eye on.
Yeah. I've known several people, other investors, entrepreneurs that have got hit with I don't know the proper term, but they've sent, too many text messages or they've made too many spam calls or whatnot, and they get sued, they get served. And I thought the going rate was it's excessive, but it's like $5,000 per touch.
Yeah, that's a DNC. Yeah, yeah. So there's a couple things, right? The biggest culprit for people like that are known litigators, right? So
Yes, yes,
the
yes.
known litigators are people who basically make their living by putting numbers out there, hoping they get called, spam called, because they put their number on the DNC list.
Right.
And then, they'll contact you and they'll shake you down for 5 grand every time.
Yep.
That's a standard
Yep.
settlement, 5 grand, right? But the bigger issue is if you get the technically TCPA violations come with a per instance fine. So
Okay.
so like if say the fine, I can't remember what it is now for for calls to the DNC, but say it's $2,500. I think it's 1,500 or $2,500. And or and you make or say you send out unsolicited text messages, and the fine per text message is $1,000. I can't remember exactly what it is,
Yeah,
something like that.
it's a lot of money.
Well, and you've sent out 100,000 texts.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
That's a big bill you're gonna have to pay, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yep.
settlements, they don't suddenly drop to 4 grand. I like my customers who've settled for 100 grand or so, that's them settling for $100,000.
That's crazy.
So it is worth your time to, I think there's some very basic things people can do to keep themselves in the middle of the lane compliance wise. It's not that
Yep.
hard.
Right.
And people should, it is worth your time to just do the basics right,
I agree. I
and
agree.
then you'll sleep better at night.
I agree. Keep you safe.
Yeah.
Don't go calling people and asking for extended car warranties. That'll end you up in TCPA jail. All
And
right.
no
So
cold texting. People forever are cold texting people.
yes,
And it's don't do it.
don't
Like
do it. Yeah.
don't do it. Cold texting is a TCPA violation. Bam, right? Straight out of the gate.
Yeah. All day. I stopped. I gave up when they started changing all the laws. This is probably over. I mean, what was it? 18 months ago or something like that?
They've been
12.
really enforcing things differently over
Okay.
the last 18 months. They changed the AA2P came out about 4 years ago,
Mhm.
but it wasn't really enforced strictly. And then about 18 months ago, the hammer came down and that changed the game a little.
Okay. Okay. So let's be careful with the text messaging, guys. Um, Jordan, let's just pivot slightly. I've heard you're working on a book, and I wanted to give you a few minutes here to talk about that.
I have two books, and I will give you a link which people
Okay.
can anybody listening to this can grab themselves free copies of both of them. The first one is called Click Call Scale: The Real Estate Investor's Ultimate Phone System Playbook, and it's all about how real estate investors can use the phone properly to close deals. So you guys can definitely have that. But my new book's coming out very, very soon. It's just at the editor doing the final edit, and then the publishers. And it's called The AI Workforce, and it's basically it came from me spending about a year trying to understand what does the company I built mean in an age where I have AI and agentic AI. Like, what does it mean to have a company? What does it mean? What do I do with my employees? What do my processes look like? What does my business do in an age where Claude can do X
Yeah.
and whatever other tools people are using? When you have agentic AI that can make decisions and that can take action in a way we've never had before. And I spent a good year designing smart agents, thinking philosophically more than anything else. What does this mean? And I ended up creating more for myself and smartphone. I created a framework for how our business could work in an age of AI. And I created a way, and by, and sort of by doing that, what I realized is I created a way for business operators now to basically reorganize their business into an AI-based, human-based, shared business, and that's what the book's about. And I'm really excited. I'm actually very passionate about this one. And because I think anybody who's in business right now will have, if you own your own business, you will have been thinking the same thing. What the hell do I do now?
Yeah.
And this book is really designed to help you reorganize and reimagine your business in a time when your employees may be AI and they may be human, and and work has to pass between them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the missing piece. That it has to be communal. It has to go back and forth. It's not a set it and forget it type of thing.
And
So
it's really like I don't want to belabor this point too much, but people don't understand how much how much work already moves in your business. It's that people compensate. So, like, we think that processes, you think you're a good business and you have a set of processes, right? But I will bet you, if you look at any one of your processes, there will be a lot of times in that process where judgment is used,
Hmm.
where human judgment is used, or always does this, or Jim is the guy who catches this mistake all the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
That there's, and how does that apply in an age where AI isn't Jim, right? It isn't Linda. And that is where the real trick is, because then you have to really understand, well, how does the work flow in my business? How do I make sure that where it flows to an agent, the agent understands what to do, does it, and then pushes it to the next bit? And right now, we're in a conversation where people are just talking about tools as though tools are the magic bullet. Tools that are the magic bullet. It's the way of moving work back and forth that's the true magic bullet.
This is fascinating. The philosophical discussion of AI and the corporate workforce. I'm looking forward to it. You got to let me know when the book comes out because I'm
It should
gonna.
be pretty soon,
Okay.
and you can get a yeah. I'll let you know as soon as it's done. I'm just literally I got the cover design over the weekend.
Okay.
And I loved it. I was blown
Okay.
away right away.
Okay.
So I got the cover design. We're doing the final edit, and then the book will be launched. And as I say, I've got a link that you can put in your podcast notes where
Absolutely.
anybody can grab a free copy, not a bullshit copy. But we will send you the book, a copy of the book.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. So look, it sounds like things are going really well for you professionally. And I always think that like once people reach a certain level of success, they start maybe thinking more intentionally about the future, right? It might be things like their day-to-day flexibility, the next chapter in life, perhaps, passive income investments to complement what they're already doing. And I'm just curious, is this something that you've thought about at all?
I mean, I really focus on living for right now.
Okay,
I'll be honest. And I'm pretty lucky. I was CEO of the company for 9 years. And last year I upgraded myself out of the CEO seat into the chairman
there
seat.
we go.
So I don't really have much of a day-to-day stress anymore. I don't
That's great.
really have much of a day-to-day job anymore. I my job is to shepherd the management team and the company, and to come up with ideas of smart agents and write books and things like that.
I love it.
But I'm really just focused. I don't spend a lot of time focusing too far ahead
Okay,
because all of that is obscured. And you can spend all your time looking there and trip over stuff. So I really focus on now and
okay,
making my happiest life right now
that's great. I
because
love that.
today is if today's the happiest day I can have, then that's a good thing because if I'm waiting to be happy tomorrow, tomorrow is going to keep going further away.
There you go. There you go. Very wise, I think. Live for today. On
A hundred percent.
a similar question, it might be the same answer, but for the listeners who are on their own entrepreneurial journey, perhaps at an earlier stage, I mean, what's something that they can do to reach your level of success, or if you have any recommendations or uh, thoughts for them?
I mean, focus is always it's not sexy, but where I see people succeed is because they're focused.
Mm,
And if you have skill and capability, but you lack focus, then you're going to be the most capable failure that you know.
mm,
Um, but where, focus and being able to really zero in on what matters and and where opportunities are and not be distracted by too many things and not being distracted by what you want to achieve. Focus is a really important and not very sexy, but very important part of success,
mm.
in my opinion.
Okay, I agree with you. I definitely agree with that. All right, so Jordan, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your perspective here today. If somebody would like to learn more about you or connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, you can a couple ways. I mean, you can technically on social media. I'll be honest, I hate social media. And I actually just I told my marketing team the other day, I'm not going to do shorts for them anymore. I hate shorts. I don't
Okay.
think in shorts. I don't care how hooky I need to make shit. I don't care.
I
I
feel you.
just don't
I
care.
feel you.
That said, technically I'm on Instagram and I do technically it's my Instagram. I will
Okay.
see it. I don't post that often.
Okay.
So you can find me on Instagram and technically Facebook, although I don't really like Facebook that much either.
Yep.
But also if you go to laborarchitecture.ai, so laborarchitecture.ai, that's my new kind of website on the book. And you can hit me up. There's a contact form there. Feel free to hit me up on the social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, or through laborarchitecture.ai. I'm always happy to give someone a little bit of time or a little bit of feedback or advice if they're asking for it.
That's great. And we'll put all that information in the show notes so that people can just like scroll down and take a look. All right. Well, Jordan, Jordan, thank you. And the listeners, thank you for coming over. And I'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, John.
Bye now.
That's it for today's episode of Corner Store Millionaires. Appreciate you being here. If you got value from this, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who'd enjoy it. And if you know a business owner doing something worth spotlighting, send them our way. There's a link below to apply to be featured. We'll be back with another real conversation soon. Until then, keep building.